today you'll have a little more of an interactive session when you read the passage because it's kind of different from what you are used to. So the very first passage of this course, the one by Mark Twain, The Coming of Age one, that's an example of creative nonfiction. Okay. This is an example of a fictional work in the same category. Okay. And this is based on something called a novella. Do you know what a novella is? So you have novels, you have short stories, right? So novels are huge, short stories are small. There's also a category called novellas, which come in between these in terms of size. So typically a short story is about 10,000 words, okay, max. And a novel should be around 70,000 words or more. So novella would be something around 30,000, 40,000. You're right in between then. So this particular work, The Heart of Darkness, it was written and published around 1899. It's about 120 years ago. So this work is just like Mark Twain's work with one major difference. While this is indeed based off the same author's own travel experience in the same place, he decided to make a fictional work out of it. Okay. So, and while you read this, you may not realize it. This work indeed became so famous that one of the most famous cult movies of all time is actually inspired by this particular work. Okay, there is a movie called Apocalypse Now, starring who most of Hollywood consider the greatest actor of all time, Marlon Brando. So this book is the inspiration for that particular movie. And the reason why, so people, they speculate on why the author chose to do it in this fictional format. The reason for that was because there was a lot of hue and cry, even back then, about portraying real people. So while the characters in this are fictional, they are indeed based on real people that the author experienced and encountered when he himself went to the place. So the title, Heart of Darkness, can you guess what it actually refers to? Any idea? I told you it's about travel and stuff. So what do you think it could be about?
Going somewhere that is usually dark or something like that.
Right. So that's what we would think immediately, right? But it's kind of the opposite. He's probably going to the brightest continent of all. What do you think would be the brightest continent? Something that would have perpetual sunlight. Which continent do you think has the most sunlight?
Is it near the equator or something like that?
Obviously, yes. Definitely it will be near the equator. And which continent do you think is most situated around the equator?
South America?
Are you sure about that?
Not sure. Or Asia?
Asia, really? Where did humanity originate?
Africa.
Correct. It is Africa, my dear, where the bulk of equatorial landmass lies in. South America, only a tiny portion of South America is above the equator. Most of it is beneath. Okay. But Africa has got both. It's got a large landmass above the equator and below too. Okay. That's why in Africa you have the most sunlight, and because of the desert and forests in Africa, the largest desert in the world is in Africa. So you have a lot of sunlight there. And yet, this particular author has written this title, Heart of Darkness, about travel experience in Africa. And not just anywhere in Africa. Have you heard of something called the Congo?
Yeah.
What do you know about it?
Not a lot. I just know.
Okay, so sometime back there was a country called Zaire. Okay, it was called Zaire, but they changed the name of that country, and now it has become the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is weird because not only is it, probably the second largest country in Africa, right in the middle. Next to it, there is another country, tinier country called the Congo. And they are both called so because there is a river that passes through these countries right in the center of Africa called the Congo. So these two countries, they take their name from this river. Okay. And this place, like I told you, it's right in the center of Africa, right at the equator. Okay. And this Congo is not just a tiny river, it is a substantially large river. And it was vital for during historical times when colonialism was there. Okay. So people actually used steamships, proper steamers to travel this river. And that was how trading was done. So a lot of these colonial powers, when they entered Africa, there was no way like using land routes to enter the jungle. It's virtually impossible without actually destroying the jungle. You can't create roads and stuff like that. Okay, filled with animals and all kinds of insects, marshland. It's impossible for land-based travel. So the river was the only navigable route, okay, to trade with the heart of Africa. The reason this title has been given was because, firstly, it is the British who was traveling there. They were considered the pinnacle of civilization at the time. And Africa was considered the most barbaric land, the most savage, the most uncivilized, most primitive people. And this area in Africa, more specifically, the people who lived in these forest areas were considered the most backward amongst the backward. So the term heart of darkness is a reference to that it is dark because it is uncivilized and primitive.